Good afternoon. Thank you very much. It's an honor to be here and to follow in such great footsteps of Andy, RC, and our distinguished panel. I'm here to talk to you today about a project that we've been working on in ECE for, let's say, the past 7 years. My name is Fouad Kiamilev. I'm a professor at University of Delaware in ECE. Before I get started, I would like to give credit to people who contribute to this work in some way more than me. Professor Willett Kempton is rightfully called the father of V2G. He invented this technology back in 2006, so 10 years ago. He is actually, his home department is with the College of Earth and Ocean Sciences, and he has appointment in ECE and works with us closely. And then also I want to give credit to Rodney McGee. Although Rodney is a PhD student, he's more of a colleague to me at this point. There's not many PhD students that, as part of their PhD thesis, actually chaired a standard creation. And Rodney is in this unique position where his thesis actually is becoming a worldwide standard for electric vehicle charging. It's SAE J3068 standard. And I also want to give credit to various companies that have participated in V2G technology. And of all those, probably today the key partner in commercializing this technology is Nuvi Corporation. And then I want to give a really strong credit to all the students and faculty and professional staff that over the past 10 years have worked on V2G technology. In fact, I saw Nicole Wells here, and she used to work in our group. I think Nicole, are you here? Okay. She stepped out, but she was an undergrad at UD, and she worked on a V2G and was a great undergraduate student. And we're sorry to lose her to Apple, but she's doing great over there. So with that, let me introduce V2G technology kind of slowly by easing into it and telling you why does it exist and why is there a need or an opportunity for this. So I'll start with some basic facts. So something we all share is, or most of us share, is that we probably own cars. We own a car, and the statistics are that in the US, a car is used on the average 1 hour a day. 23 hours, it sits parked somewhere. And the average daily commute for people is 30 miles. So it is an asset on which we spend, some of us spend a little money, and some of us spend quite a bit of money, but it's a depreciating asset that we own. Another interesting fact that I want to share with you is I think we would all agree that electric vehicles is becoming an attractive option for car buyers. I can speak from my own experience. I'm on my second electric vehicle. So I started in 2012. I bought a Chevy Volt. And in 2017, I gave it to my daughter and bought a 2017 Chevy Volt. So, and that's an American manufactured car, works great, has fewer mechanical oil changes and mechanical issues than a gas-powered car. So we don't know if it will be like solar panels where everybody said it's great and 30 years from now it's still waiting to be great, or it's going to be like cell phones. But I think the indications are that the volume is picking up and there is legs behind electric vehicles. Certainly it's very exciting what Tesla is doing, and there are literally 300,000 people or something like that, they have pre-ordered a Tesla 3, right? So there's momentum, so that's another. Another basic fact that I want to share with you is that the battery range that you get in an electric vehicle today or an electric enhanced gas engine like a Chevy Volt is going to be between 50 and 200 miles. And so when I share with you that you've got 50 to 200 miles range in your electric car, but you're only driving 30 miles a day, that should tell you, and typically you charge it overnight, that should tell you that there is like you have that much battery, but you're only using that much. So you've got an asset there that you potentially can do something with. And that's kind of a fact that I want you to keep in mind as we talk about vehicle-to-grid technology. Now, next fact that I want to share with you is the battery capacity in electric vehicles today ranges from 10 kilowatt per hour in electric enhanced vehicles like the Volt to 100 kilowatts per hour in a premier car like the Tesla S. And that's an interesting number to consider, because if you look at average US house, it consumes 30 kilowatt hours per day. And that's a number that varies greatly. So if you live on the West Coast, it's probably in the 10 kilowatt range. And if you live in Alaska, it's in the 30 kilowatt range. So it's all over the place. But you can see that we're today at a point where a car battery stores several days of energy for a single household. So we're not talking small potatoes here. You know, your car has a lot of energy storage, if it is electric. Now, I can't talk about electric vehicles without talking about charging, because that's a very common complaint. And I fully relate to that. I have my own personal stories of driving one of our fleet vehicles to Philadelphia and getting stuck there because I ran out of charge and I couldn't find a charging station. That's a problem. And of course, you know, we all take for granted that you pull up to a gas station and 5 minutes later you're driving off with a full gas tank. When you tell a lot of people that you're going to have to wait 2 hours to fill up your car, you're going to be like, wait a sec, that's not really in my comfort zone. Like, do I really want to have dinner every time I fill up gas? So I want to share with you kind of the universe of charging. So you have your level 1 chargers, which is the simplest way to go. It's, I do that at my house. You don't need any infrastructure for that. You basically get an electric adapter, it plugs into your home outlet, and then you plug the other end into your electric vehicle. It gives you 3.3 kilowatts of power into your car. And then a level 2 charger will ups that. There's a range of level 2 chargers, and they go from 6.6 kilowatts to 19.2 kilowatts, right? And the numbers, you can just do the math. So if your Tesla has 100 kilowatt hour battery, then with 3.3 kilowatts, you know, take 100 divided by 3.3, it takes many, many hours, a full day to charge it. But with a 19 kilowatt charger, it will take only 4 hours to fully charge. Now, what we find more interesting is the fast chargers. So the fast chargers, they're expensive, they're exotic, but the numbers are much more attractive. So a fast charger, for example, today will cost $100,000. So it's about a factor of 10 more than you'll pay for a level 2 charger, but it'll charge at 100 kilowatt. So now that's interesting because you can charge a Tesla in 1 hour fully, or you can charge my Volt in 10 minutes. And I'll talk about this more, but for example, in V2G, we're not just pushing bidirectional charging, but we're also making chargers that do 100 kilowatt charging at a fraction of the cost. So our 100 kilowatt charger costs $10,000. So the basic idea of vehicle to grid is to feed power back to the grid, basically by running your electric car charger backwards. Just think about it like it's not the grid charging you, but you're charging the grid. And I'm oversimplifying it, of course, but that's really the intention here, is kind of to describe the proposition of this technology that we're working on. And the other key aspect of V2G is that you don't want to do this with one vehicle, but you want to aggregate a fleet of vehicles. So you want to have 100 vehicles so that on the average, statistically, you always have power feeding back into the grid. So it looks like a steady, predictable power source. So it's statistically. And then the third aspect of V2G idea is that it's not meant to be an experiment that you show in the lab, write a paper, and get a citation somewhere. You really need to develop standards. On the front of these standards, you need to have laws and regulations in place so that V2G is permitted in the locality where you're operating. And you need to provide solutions, almost like design kits to the car manufacturers so that they can retrofit their electric vehicles to provide this service. What are the applications that we might want to use V2G? And this is, I think, where it gets interesting, because like it was mentioned in the panel discussion earlier, you come up with something with a new technology and you think it's going to be used like the cell phones. You think it was going to be used by these very wealthy people, but then it ends up being used for something else. So this is what we think V2G is great for. One is to generate revenue for the owner of the car, because just like a solar panel, you can get revenue for feeding power into the grid, back into the grid, and kind of playing arbitrage, buying the energy when it's cheap and selling it when when the power company provides more for your dollar to sell it back. The other application is to provide backup power for the home. Maybe this is silly, but power source for camping. Like with V2G, one of the demos I used to do for like middle schools, I'd pull up to a middle school and I'd pull out a smoothie maker and I'd make smoothies for these students, and it was powered by the electric car. And people were like, wow, this is so cool. And actually, that's a serious application that military is interested in, because in military, you do a lot of forward-based deployment, and a lot of warfare today is electronic. A lot of soldiers carry electronic equipment, UAVs, a lot of high-power gear. And so, it's great that your vehicle is the power station. You can pull up to the battle, plug all your gear, charge all your gadgets, and, be up and running. And in the grand scheme of things, V2G is a good complement for wind and solar energy. I'm not going to get into this, but if you Google it, you can sort of discover why that is the case. So this is my last slide. I'll just tell you where this technology is today. It was invented by Professor Kempton in 2006. They came to ECE in 2010. We helped build the first chargers. Today, we still build chargers in our group, and we support their development, but the manufacturing is actually done by an OEM. The university owns a portfolio of patents in this technology. A number of licensees exist today. The main one is Nuvi. A number of major OEMs are engaged in evaluating this technology. These include names like Honda, BMW, Ford, and several trials of the technology are underway and have already completed worldwide. And the team here on our campus consists of a dozen professionals and students that support the development of this technology, and this includes a VIP team that we just talked about. So that's my presentation. Thank you.
Well, thank you, everyone. I'd like to thank our alumni that participated in a number of the panels. I'd like to thank Nancy for hosting that. I'd like to thank the faculty that gave a glimpse into some of the work that's going on here. And I'd just like to close with a thought that I opened with, basically, and I can think of no other profession like the ECE profession that continuously reinvents itself and continuously has a bigger impact on society. And you can see that not only in the profession, but also the things going on in the department, the kinds of things that faculty are working on, the kind of projects students are working on, the drones that are flying out here, the way we deliver education, get students engaged. So it's been a tremendous 125 years, and I really look forward to another 125 years, not myself personally, but for the discipline itself. With that, I will close. All that's left is to cut the ribbon on the new iSuite and throw a party tonight. So hopefully we will see you at all of that. And thank you very much for participating today. And thanks to all the people that were on the panels and participated in the faculty. So thank you.